Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. We'll go ahead and get started. I just wanted to first introduce myself and my team. My name's Avianca Walker, and I'm the Running Start Coordinator for Everett Community College. And you can see we are a small and mighty team of 4 at EVCC in Running Start. So we handle everything for the program, answer all your questions. We're the folks on the back end when you're emailing and texting us. So just wanted you to be able to connect our faces with our names since we're not able to meet you in person. My other team members are Aranza, Andreliale, Ozge, and then that's my little dog Grover since we are all working from home. He has become our little mascot and he may pop his little head up or make some noises in the background. So I hope you'll just bear with him. So our plan for today is to just give you some information to hopefully help you decide if you're interested in the Running Start program. So we'll cover what Running Start is, go through some questions and information that'll hopefully help you decide if it's the right program for you, and then walk you through our application process. And at the very end of all that, we'll have some time for your questions and provide you with the best answers that we can. So just a few logistics. We do ask that you stay muted during the presentation. We just want to make sure that everyone is able to hear, but we do welcome you to go ahead and take any screenshots or photos of any information that you want to remember. And you can also submit your questions as we go that we will answer in the Q&A at the very end. So you can just go ahead and submit those in the Q&A feature. We don't want you to hold them till the end and then forget what your questions are. So just feel free to submit them as we go. And just a reminder, as Andrea already shared, this session is being recorded today. So we'll start just answering the question, what is Running Start? So Running Start is a dual credit program, and dual credit just means that you have the opportunity to earn 2 credits at the same time, both for high school and for college. So you may have heard of some dual credit programs before. College and the high school is a very popular one in our area, and so is CTE dual credit. And those programs are both dual credit options that allow you to take college level courses at your local high school. So you can stay at Sultan High School and take college in the high school courses or CTE dual credit classes at a local vocational school and get college credit for those classes. Running Start is also a dual credit program, but it's the only one where you are actually taking those college credits at your local community college. So all of the community colleges in Washington State offer the Running Start program, and we know that where you're located at Sultan, you're kind of between us and Cascadia, and so we wanted to just share that they are having some information sessions as well. If you're interested in hearing more details about their Running Start program, all of the basics of what Running Start is and what you need to consider are going to be the same no matter where you go, but we do all have our own separate application processes for our different institutions. At Everett Community College, we have an option within our Running Start program called ORCA, or the Ocean Research College Academy, and that's our research vessel in the photo there, and Artie, the instructor and director, in the middle of the doorway there of the boat. And this is an amazing program because it gives folks who are interested in Running Start and also interested in any of the STEM fields a really hands-on opportunity to participate in the Running Start program and graduate from high school and college at the same time. So you get your associate's degree when you complete the ORCA program from Everett Community College. But it is a 2-year full-time program, so you do need to start your junior year and attend full-time in order to be able to graduate the same time you graduate from high school. And ORCA is also offering its own information sessions because you apply to our EVCC Running Start program, and then they have their own separate application process as well. So if you're interested in that, you can just find their information on the Everett Community College website and just put ORCA in the search box, and it'll take you right to their page, give you lots of great information about the program and the links to sign up for their information sessions. So who can participate in Running Start? It is open to juniors and seniors enrolled in a local public high school here in Washington. So you do have to be attending public school. If you are a private school student or a homeschool student, or you know someone who might be interested, you can let them know that they can also participate. They just would have to register with a local school district to be eligible. You also may have heard that Running Start is a way to get free college, which is partially true. It is a tuition-free program, which is pretty amazing and a great cost savings, but there are still some things that you need to pay for as part of the Running Start program, and I'll cover what those costs are a little later in the presentation. So some of the perks, if you're considering being in the Running Start program, is that you do save that tuition for the fall, winter, and spring quarters. You also have the opportunity to explore subjects that aren't offered at your local high school. You get to participate in all of the clubs and services and extracurriculars that we have on a college campus. And it can prepare you if you're interested in entering in the workforce after you graduate from high school. You can get your associate's degree or certificate and go right into the workforce, or you can also transfer to a university but complete some of your general education courses while still in high school. So if you're interested in the Running Start program, you will be considering what pathway you want to study. And pathway is the new language that we're using to talk about what you may have heard be called majors in the past. All of our community colleges in Washington are adopting this new concept and language around the way we group our classes together. And it's because we know a lot of students are either interested in a lot of different things, or you may not know exactly what you want to major in if you're planning to go to university. And so we wanted to group broad categories together of areas of interest to give you a chance to do some exploring and check things out in a hands-on way to see if that's really what you want to commit to further down in your education. So these are the pathways that we offer at Everett Community College. And within each of these pathways, you have a wide variety of how you want to take your classes. So like everyone else, for the last year, we've been predominantly online, but we do have some classes that have been running in person even during the pandemic. For our online classes, we offer those as live stream options where the students meet together with the instructor and receive what we call live instruction via Zoom. Or we also have fully online courses that never actually meet at a specific time. We also do offer in-person classes throughout the day, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And we have what is called hybrid classes, which are a combination of in-person and online learning. We do also have some classes that start before the quarter begins. So we have a few classes that are accelerated pace and take place over a week or two before the quarter starts. And we have some late start classes as well. So there's lots of flexibility for your learning. The campus resources that you have access to are pretty amazing. We have all of our students participate in advising. So Running Start students are included in what we call entry advising, which is all of our brand new students before they start their first quarter at the college, meet with an entry advisor to select their classes. And then after your first quarter at the college, you're assigned what's called a program advisor, and that's a faculty member in the pathway that you selected that will be your advisor throughout the rest of your time at the college. So you'll always have an advisor that you can go to for help and ask questions if you don't know what classes to take or just don't know exactly what you're interested in. They're your go-to person. We also have a Center for Disability Services. So if you have a 504 plan or an IEP, we can make accommodations for you. We have a free counseling center that offers career counseling as well as mental health counseling. We have a new food pantry that we're really excited about. This is available for all of our students. You don't have to show any need or any documentation to access our food pantry, but if you are experiencing any food insecurity, if you just need some support in having enough food for your household, we have free dry and canned goods as well as some household supplies and even some pet supplies. We have an amazing IT and Canvas help desk team, which have been invaluable to all of us, especially as we've been trying to figure out working from home and all this new technology. Our students all have access to rent or borrow laptops and Chromebooks. We have an amazing library, tutoring center, and writing center that work together to support our students in their classes. And then we have our student life office, which is where all of our clubs, our student senate, and our student ambassadors programs are located. So I wanted to take you through a few questions to help you consider whether or not Running Start is the right program for you. So as we mentioned earlier, there's lots of different options for dual credit, and none of them is better than the other. So it's really up to you and your family to just kind of consider what your personal needs and goals are to determine which one's best for you. And so hopefully this will help you learn a little bit more about Running Start. So the first thing to consider is that college learning environment. If you remember at the beginning of the presentation, Running Start is the only option where you're taking classes at the local high school, or if you're online, you're taking classes with other community college students. So you need to consider whether or not you and your family are comfortable with you being considered an adult college student. There is a federal law that's called FERPA, and that does prevent us from speaking as freely with your family members, your parents, anyone who might be supporting you, as your high school is able to communicate with them. And so a lot of the burden of communicating information back and forth does fall to you, the students. You just want to make sure that that's something that you're ready for. You also want to consider whether or not you're comfortable taking classes with adults. Community colleges in Washington are what we call open enrollment institutions. And so that means that anyone who applies to the community colleges gets admitted after they go through the application process. So our students' average range of age is anywhere from 16 to 65. So you will not necessarily be going to school with people who are in your peer group. You also want to consider if you're comfortable just engaging with students, engaging with teachers, and engaging with curriculum that expresses a wide variety of backgrounds. So we have a non-discrimination policy at Everett Community College and at all of the community colleges, and that just means that we don't discriminate on the basis of race, color, citizenship, ethnicity, gender, religion, parental status, spirituality, etc. And we really just want all of our students to feel comfortable bringing their whole selves to the campus, and we want them to explore and express who they are. And so that is a very big part of the college experience and being a college student, and you want to make sure that that's something that you're ready to engage with. Another thing to consider is just the academic rigor of taking college classes. So different from taking the other dual credit options is that you'll be on the college schedule, which goes at a much faster pace. So community colleges operate on the quarter system instead of the semester or trimester system. And so that means you'll cover a year's worth of high school content within 10 weeks if you're taking a class through Running Start. So an example of that would be if you were taking a math class at your high school, you would have a year to finish all of that content in your math class. If you took the same math class at the college through Running Start, you would cover the same amount of material in only 10 weeks. You also want to consider how you feel about a different type of learning. So college courses do focus much more on critical thinking skills, and your instructors do have what we call academic freedom. And so that means that their coursework is often going to challenge you to interrogate your different belief systems, to communicate your beliefs, to write papers to back up your theories and ideas. And so you want to make sure that that's something that you're ready to do. Also, you want to think about just the flexibility and the responsibility of being in college. So college students do spend less time in class, so you may have heard that spoken about Running Start as a perk, and had friends who are only in class for maybe 1 or 2 to 3 hours a day. But for every 1 hour that you're in class, you do have about 2 hours of studying outside of class that you usually need to do. So another thing to consider is just the balance between your life in high school and your life in college. So you want to make sure that you're really comfortable with time management and tracking multiple deadlines, and that you have some kind of system for doing that. You are going to have different breaks for both schools, a good example of that is that typically spring break falls at a different time at the community college than it will at your high school. And so your family or your friends might be making plans for spring break, and that wouldn't necessarily be something that you could participate in because you'd still be in class. And because of that much faster pace, they're covering a whole year's worth of content in 10 weeks, missing a whole week of class would be a really bad idea because you want to really take your grades and your performance seriously. You also want to make sure that you're comfortable advocating for yourself and just communicating your needs with everyone. So everyone wants you to be successful. We all want to make sure you have what you need, but the faculty and staff at the college aren't necessarily going to know that you are in high school and that you may have needs because you're a high school student. And so you'd be responsible for communicating those with your advisor or whoever you're speaking with who might be trying to help you. And you also want to communicate information back and forth and be responsible and let your family and your high school counselor know what's going on at the college so that they can do their best to help you as well. And just a reminder that federal law, FERPA, is there. And so that's what prevents us from being as actively involved in that and puts a lot of the burden on the student to make sure that everybody has the information they need so that we all can help you. So other things to consider within the Running Start program are just the courses, credits, and cost of the program. So let's take a look at each of those. So we mentioned a little earlier that we do run on different timelines. So you can see the chart on your left kind of shows a visual example of that semester system at your high school where you go for 2 semesters a year. And then at the end of the year, you've had the opportunity to earn up to 6 credits at your high school. If you're taking classes through Running Start at your local community college, you have the opportunity to go for the fall, winter, or spring quarter and earn up to 9 high school credits if you're going full time. So not all students have to go to Running Start full time. That's really a decision that you're going to make with your counselor and your family to decide what is best for you. But you can see on the chart on the right-hand side that if you're going full-time at the community college, that's about 3 classes, which means you probably won't be taking any classes at your high school, or you might be taking a 0-hour class, if anything. But you have a lot of different options if you are interested in being in Running Start part-time. So you could take half and half, 2 and 2. You could take almost all of your classes at your high school and maybe just explore 1 class at the community college. So lots of options for you there. And the high school and college credits don't line up exactly either. So you can see how those kind of compare in a side by side here. 12 to 15 credits is what we consider a full-time student at the community college. And Running Start students are eligible for 15 credits of free tuition for the fall, winter, and spring quarter. So Running Start students who are interested in attending part-time would take anywhere from 1 to 12 credits. Another thing to consider as you're thinking about Running Start are just your high school graduation requirements. So you're responsible for making sure that you're on track to graduate, and your high school counselor is really going to be your support system as you try to figure out what your graduation requirements are at your high school. And you're going to be responsible for making sure that you sign up at the college for the classes that you talked about with them and that you recommend, because there's not necessarily anyone at EVCC who's going to be tracking to make sure that you're doing what you need to do to graduate from high school. So you just really want to make sure that you're communicating with your high school counselor, especially if they recommended a class and maybe you don't get into that class that quarter, that you come up with a new plan that's still going to meet your graduation requirements. You also want to consider just your grades and your transcripts if you start taking classes at the college. For any dual credit program, you just want to take your academics really seriously because you are starting your college transcript. And so those grades will follow you throughout your career as a college student, whether you go on to university or whether you finish up at the community college. So just being mindful of that, taking your academics very seriously and trying to do the best that you can is really important. We will send your grades back to your high school so that they can include those on your transcripts for the fall, winter, and spring quarters if you're in the Running Start program. And one thing to note too is that we know a lot of the high schools have been making accommodations during COVID to their grading policies. We know some schools haven't been giving F grades or have been changing the grading scales. We have not had any change to our grading policies during remote learning at the community college, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Also, if you are interested in transferring to a university, just be aware that the transferability of your credits varies by university. We do have what's called the direct transfer agreement, which is an associate's degree. We call it the DTA for short, and that is accepted by public universities in the state of Washington. And so what that means is if you graduate from Everett Community College with an Associate's in Arts and Sciences DTA, that if you were going to transfer to a public university in Washington State, say Western Washington University, for example, they would accept all of those credits in bulk, and you would transfer into Western as a junior. And that is to compare to if you wanted to go to a private university in Washington State or you wanted to leave the state, you could still transfer your credits, but the institution is likely going to look at each individual class that you took, see if they have something at their school that is comparable, see if they have something at their school that meets the degree requirements of their school, and then decide what credits they're going to accept. So they won't take them all in the package deal the way they would at the public universities here. So just a little bit more about the FERPA law that I've been talking about quite a bit. FERPA stands for the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, and it is a federal law that protects student information. And so what that means for our Running Start students is that we are not able to discuss your grades or your attendance with anyone but you, the student, and then your high school counselor and or registrar. So your family members, parents can't call and talk to your teachers about how you're doing in your class or whether or not you're showing up to class. We really consider you an adult learner, and we expect you to show up for class and do what you need to do. We expect you to communicate with them about how you're doing in your courses and what support you need. You also need to be aware that if you're coming to the campus for any services, you're always welcome to bring whoever you want with you to the campus. So if you have an appointment with the Student Life Office, with the Center for Disability Services, with the Tutoring Center, and you want to bring a family member or a friend with you and that makes you feel more comfortable, you are always welcome to do that. We do just want you to know that when you arrive, the person that you're meeting with may want to clarify who the student is, and then they may ask you if it's okay if the other person participates in the conversation, just to get a verbal confirmation that they're abiding with the FERPA law the way they need to. We do have what's called a release of information form, and that form does allow us to share a little bit more detailed information about a student record with whoever you indicate on the form. So I could fill the form out and say, oh, I want to give you permission to talk to my dad. But if my dad called the school, they would not be able to verify that he is my actual dad. They can't see his photo ID. And so they're not really going to give him any more information over the phone if they would if I didn't have that form filled out. But if he's communicating in person or even in Zoom, we've used it a little bit because you can show someone your photo ID in Zoom, then we're able to share a little bit more information with people. So that's something to keep in mind also. So I wanted to loop back and talk about some of the cost of participating in the Running Start program. So remember, you are getting that free tuition as a Running Start student for the fall, winter, and spring quarter, but you do have some fees that you need to be mindful of. And those costs include the placement exam does have a cost. Not all students end up needing to take the placement exam, and I'll talk in more detail about the cost of the exam and why you might need to take it in a few minutes. We also do have mandatory class and student fees for all of our students. You do have to purchase your own textbooks and supplies for all your classes. You also need to pay for your own transportation if you're taking in-person classes. So if you're driving to the campus, you do need to pay for a parking permit to park on campus. Or if you're taking public transportation, you would have to cover those costs as well. You would cover the cost if you sign up for any classes that are below 100 level. So the way the college classes work is that anything that's numbered 100 or higher is considered a college level class, and anything with a number below 100 is not college level. So when I was in the Running Start program, I was not quite ready for college level math, and I placed into math 86. So because 86 is less than 100, that class would not have been covered by the Running Start program. So I just opted to continue taking math at my high school where it was free anyways, and went at a pace that was a little better for me. And I still just took my other classes that weren't math related through Running Start. You also would have to pay if you chose to go above the maximum credit eligibility. So again, Running Start students are permitted to take up to 15 credits, and anywhere between 12 and 15 credits is considered a full-time student. But if you wanted to take 16, 17, or 18 credits, you would need to pay out of pocket for those individual credits. And then if you were interested in attending the community college during the summer quarter, you would be responsible for the whole cost of any summer classes that you took, including the tuition, because Running Start only runs during the calendar year when your high school is operating. All of that being said, we do have a fee waiver for eligible students, and the fee waiver would cover the cost of those class and student fees that I just talked about for any class that's above 100 level. So to be eligible for the fee waiver, you just have to meet one of the 4 criteria and provide documentation once a year. So you would have to be eligible for free and reduced lunch in the last 5 years. And if so, you would qualify. If your family income is less than 200% of the poverty level, you could qualify. If you're receiving any type of state or federal assistance, you could qualify. And then also if you're a current foster youth or if you have McKinney-Vento status, you qualify for our fee waiver. And then in addition to the fee waiver, we do sometimes get scholarships for books and supplies. And so we will communicate with our Running Start students whenever we get that funding and let you know that we have that option too. Another thing to consider when you're thinking about Running Start is just the financial aid impact that it has on you. So as a Running Start student, you're not paying for tuition, so you're not applying for federal financial aid because you don't need to pay that cost. But if you are interested in applying for federal financial aid after you graduate from high school because you want to continue on at the community college or you want to go on to a university, you do need to be aware that because you've started a college transcript, they are going to look at that when they see if you qualify for aid. So you do have to maintain what's called satisfactory academic progress, and each school defines what they mean by that differently. At Everett Community College, we mean that we want you to have a 2.0 or get a C in all of your classes every quarter. Otherwise, you could get a warning or go on probation, and you would need to do appeal to reinstate your financial aid. So it's not a huge concern when you're in Running Start because you're not using the financial aid, but we do want you to just be aware that it can impact you if you choose to use it in the future and you're not doing well in your courses. So that was a lot of information. Hopefully some of you are still with me and still are interested in participating in the Running Start program. So I want to walk you through the application process for Everett Community College if you are interested in the program. So the first thing to notice is that there's a long list of things that you need to do. So I'll do a quick overview and then we'll talk about each of these in a little more detail. So the first thing you want to do is just confirm that you're eligible to be in the Running Start program. And you want to also talk with someone you trust, talk with your family, your friends, your counselor, and just determine if you're ready for the responsibility of being in college. Then you're going to gather some placement documents and complete the application, and then you'll submit all of that to our mighty team of 4, and we'll process all that information for you and accept you into the program. And then once you get admitted, you do have still several things you need to do. So you'll have to complete the EVCC orientation, watch our Running Start videos, complete your RSEVF or your Running Start enrollment verification form with your high school counselor and your parents. You've got to meet with an entry advisor. You've got to turn your RSEVF form in, and then you have to sign up for your classes and attend Welcome Week. So let's look at each of those steps. So just a reminder, the eligibility for the program is that you have to be a high school junior or senior. So in the fall, if you're going into your junior or senior year, you would be eligible to participate in the program. I'm assuming most of you go to Sultan High School, so that's a public school district, so you're good to go there. And then you have to have math and English placement. And I don't want you to confuse this with having to have college level placement. So we do want to know what level of math and English you're ready for, but if you're not ready for a college level math class like I was not, or you're not ready for a college level English class, that wouldn't disqualify you from participating in Running Start. So please just make note of that. You do want to gather your placement documents so that we can figure out where you do place. And the easiest ways to do that that have no cost to you are to gather either transcripts or test scores. So you can send us your high school transcripts, and all of these copies can be unofficial. So if you have a high school transcript, you can send us that. We'll take a look. If you have a 2.5 GPA or higher on your high school transcript, you will get placed into English 101, which is college level English. And then we'll also look to see if you have 2 semesters worth of math on your transcript. If you're in your second semester of math right now, you can send us your transcript and a grade report showing us your current grade in your math class, and we could use that as well to give you math placement. And if you have 2 semesters with a C+ or better, you would place into math. You can also use your college transcripts. So some of you may have done a college and the high school classes before, or you may have done Running Start at another community college. If you send us your high school transcripts, we can use those as well. If you did college and the high school through Everett Community College, we already have your transcript for that, so you don't need to send that with you. Just let us know that you took college and the high school with us and we'll look at it. And then also you can send your test scores. So I know with COVID, not all of these tests have happened, but if you have Smarter Balanced Assessment scores, PSATs, SATs, ACTs, or if you had AP or IB scores, we could use those for your placement as well. So you would gather all those placement documents, and if you did not have those documents, or you gathered them and you submitted them and you thought, hey, I really thought I would place higher than this and I want to see if I can get into a higher level, you do have the option to take the AccuPlacer test. So it's not required, but we do offer it as an option to students who need it for placement because they don't place any other way, or they want to try to place higher than they would from their high school or college transcripts or test scores. So the cost to take the test is $33.70. And you do have to submit your Running Start application first so that we can process it and give you a student ID number, because you need an Everett Community College student ID number to take the test. So we are offering the test at home right now because of COVID, so you would take it online at your own home. So we do have a list of just the technology requirements for being able to upload the test on your computer or whatever device you're using. And so you can find those requirements by going to the Everett Community College website. And if you just search testing or put in /testing, it'll list out what you need there. Then once you take the test, you would email your scores to the Running Start team, and we'll attach those to your application and finish processing it for you. So the Running Start application is different than the main application to the college for students who have already completed high school, and it can be found on the Running Start page of our website. And you do need to complete it even if you've attended Everett Community College as a college and the high school student, because we're 2 different programs, so we both have our own application process. So you want to submit your application with the placement documents, and then a verification email will be sent to you because we want to make sure we have the right email address for you. And then it will take about 5 to 7 business days for us to process your application. And that's because, like you saw in the picture, there's just 4 of us plus Grover. Grover is not helpful when it comes to processing applications, so it takes us a little while to get them done because we have to go through each and every one, and we want to respond back to you and let you know, hey, welcome, you made it into the program. So you'll get an email from us that accepts you into the program as soon as we're done processing your application. And we will start processing applications for the fall starting next week. And if we see something in your application that we have questions about, or if we need more placement information, we'll also reach out to you via email and just communicate back and forth with you so we can get it figured out and then get your acceptance email out to you. Once you get admitted into the program, you still have several things you need to do. So this can all take about 2 weeks. So you just want to make sure that you're planning ahead and giving yourself plenty of time. We don't want you to feel rushed or stressed out about it in any way. So you want to complete the Everett Community College online orientation, and you'll see that some of these items have the word block in parentheses after them. And that means that this task item has what we call a block on your student record that prevents you from signing up for your classes until you've completed this item. So the online orientation is one of those mandatory things that you have to complete, and then you put your student ID number in at the end and we'll take the block off for you. Then you also want to watch your Running Start videos that we'll send you in your welcome email. So in your welcome email, you want to read it very carefully because it's going to have your student ID number. It's going to have the link to the orientation videos. It's going to have a link to the Running Start videos. And then you're going to want to connect with your high school counselor. So whether that's via email, in person, online, however they would like you to meet with them, you are going to want to do that so that you can fill out the Running Start enrollment verification form together. And then you will take that form with you when you meet with your entry advisor. We're doing all of our entry advising right now online via Zoom, or you can meet with them on the phone or in person. But they're going to use that form that you get from your high school counselor to understand what your graduation requirements are. And then they'll talk to you about your interests and goals at the community college and as a Running Start student and help you pick out classes at the college. And then after they have that conversation with you, your block will be removed for entry advising, and then you'll turn your completed Running Start enrollment verification form into the Running Start office. You can just email it to us, and then we will process it and email you back and let you know that your final block has been removed from your account. So the Running Start enrollment verification form is something that you will get very familiar with as a Running Start student because you fill it out every single quarter. Because every single quarter, we want to make sure that you're connecting with your counselor at your high school. We want to make sure that you're connecting with your parents, letting them know what's going on, and that you're on track to graduate from high school, because that is still also your goal. So this form is very important. You will see that there's lots of spots for signatures. You've got to sign it, your counselor's got to sign it, your parent or guardian has to sign it, and then your counselor is going to list out the classes that they recommend that you take that'll meet your high school graduation requirements. And then this is the form that you'll email to us every single quarter, and then we will remove the block, and you won't be able to sign up for your classes until that block has been taken off. So some deadlines to keep in mind if you're interested in doing all of this and you want to do it in the nice, relaxed pace that we recommend. Our priority deadline for those of you who are interested in starting in the fall is May 10th. So you just want to get your application and your placement documents into us no later than May 10th, because we know that you're going to leave for summer break, your counselors are going to leave for summer break, and then there's going to be several months where we're all still working, but you're all out enjoying the sunshine, hopefully. And we don't want you to come back in late August and try to scramble and get all of that stuff done that I just showed you on that to-do list. Our registration, which is when you sign up for your classes for fall quarter, actually opens on June 1st. So it's probably not when you're thinking about the fall at all, but that is when you would sign up for your fall classes. So if you get your application into us by May 10th, you'll have plenty of time to get everything else done so that you're ready to sign up for your classes on June 1st. After you sign up for your classes, we strongly recommend that you participate in what we call Welcome Week or Welcome Days. And this is being offered virtually and or in person, depending on the requirements for the pandemic. But it's just your opportunity to meet people. You can meet faculty, staff, students. We have game nights, trivia. We have tours of the campus. We've created some virtual tours with our drones, and our student ambassadors will take you on a virtual tour of the campus in this COVID virtual environment that we all live in right now. You can go to the bookstore in person, or we have a video that walks you through how to order your books online so you get all your books and supplies that you need for your classes. And then we also have a ton of different workshops on just how to be successful in college, how to have a healthy work-life balance. We have workshops for connecting with the different services that we have, and then also some technology orientation so you can learn how to get logged into all the different things that you have to log in, your Canvas account, your Starfish account, your email, and set all your passwords and everything like that. And so we offer this every single quarter, and we encourage students to go every quarter because there's always something new that you can learn or somebody new that you can meet. So that's everything from me. I want to turn it over to your counselors so they can give you a little more specific information for your school.
Thank you, Avianca. Oh, I don't see my video coming up. There we go. So one of the things that she mentioned was placement. In regards to placement, was needing a transcript. So we really wanted to be sure to cover how to request those transcripts. And there's two different ways that you can request transcripts right now. One is by emailing Ms. Teal the form that is also available on our website. It's under forms, and it's called transcript request form. You email that to Ms. Teal, and that's one way. If you prefer the in-person, you can also stop by the counseling office, and we have hard copy transcript request forms. You could fill those out and leave it with Ms. Teal, and then she can give you that transcript. My suggestion would be that on that form, you request a PDF version of your transcript, because then that's going to be easier for you to upload onto your application for the placement and all. And yes, we at this point, well, actually at this point we are planning on offering the Smarter Balance, but we don't have details on what that's going to look like quite yet. So stay tuned for all that in case that's something you wanted to utilize. However, I do see most students utilizing the transcript way. So I really, really appreciate that colleges are utilizing this more and more. We also frequently get asked the question of, should I do part-time or full-time? And that's a really, really hard question for us to answer for you, because it really depends on where is it that you place, like Avianca mentioned. Some of us maybe don't place for college level English, like myself, or college level math. And so it's possible that based on placement, you may have to take some classes at the high school, or it's possible that, there's just a favorite couple classes that you want to continue to take at the high school. Maybe it's the sports medicine track, maybe it's the yearbook course. So depending on what classes you really want to take is whether you should do part-time or full-time, but also where you are at in terms of a placement to see what access you have, if you do have access to a full load at the college, or if you just need to bring it down. So again, ultimately it's up to you. Avianca mentioned you could do any community college in the state. If you really wanted to, you could go to Yakima Community College. You probably won't do that, but you can. And you could do their online courses, because every community college has online courses. So what college you want to do depends on you. What I would suggest is that you look at the courses and programs that each of the different community colleges offer to make the best decision for you. EVCC is the one that is closest to us because they do have that Monroe campus. And you could take classes, you could take one class in Monroe and 2 classes in Everett. You could do one in Everett, one in Monroe, and one online. So you do have a variety of options. And then again, full-time, part-time, that's kind of up to you. And then what classes you take at the high school, that's also up to you if your placement is at the college level for both English and math. There are also some things I wrote some notes on. For your applications, when you are applying, and it's asking for the email, I would encourage you to utilize your personal email. And the reason behind that is you have access to that year long. and you don't risk something bouncing back because of the restrictions that the school district has set on your school email. If you are on the Running Start track, as you are applying, actually, once you apply and have started the placement process, once you're ready to talk about courses, that's when we fill out the enrollment verification form. And the first couple quarters we meet together for that to discuss those classes. But eventually you get to the point of connecting with your program advisors at the college so much that you're pretty much going to get to the point of telling me, hey, these are the classes I need at the college. And so long as you're on track with your credits, I'm going to be like, yeah, sure, go for it. If there's a class that I'm like, hey, don't forget about CWI, then I'll be sure to address that with you. But you do get a lot of choice in what courses you get to pick. And I would for sure take advantage of those program advising appointments to get that guidance on what classes you want on the college end, because that, quite honestly, is out of my realm. I do the high school version, and they do the college version. And then email, I think just in regards to email, extremely important that you are checking whatever email that you get from them and don't delete it. So many times you guys delete them. Do not delete it, because they literally will have the outline of what you need to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's going to be your go-to for a lot of the links as well. And then lastly, I guess just be sure to get everything done before we leave for the summer, because I really truly don't check my email over the summer. I have the intention of checking it like maybe once every other week, but honestly, I take advantage of it. I need that break. So anything that you need from us, let's try to get it done before the end of the school year. Otherwise, you may have to wait until end of August, which in sometimes is not too late. But then you'll get last pick at courses, and that's probably not going to make for a super enjoyable first quarter. Mrs. Peterson, did you have anything else to add?
I was just going to mention for the application part, I do know students have also liked having the transcript printed out and current grades, and then they do the application on the phone and just take a picture of the document and it uploads automatically. And I've had students tell me that they prefer that. Application works really smoothly too. So so if you need either the PDF version or a printed copy or whatnot, we'll definitely work with you to get the paperwork that you need.
Did she?
So you can get that process going.
Great.
So that's all I had. And I know, are we doing Q&A while we're recording? I know Nathan had a question about art classes. So which is in the chat. So one of them, Avianca, I can't answer.
Sure. So let's see. It says for art in EVCC in the art program, is it in person or online? How will students know what supplies they need? What if you are in private and public school for applying to EVCC? So for the first part of that question, we do have a really awesome art program. I love art. I take a lot of our art classes. We are currently offering our art classes online, but they are discussing right now what classes will get opened up for social distancing in the fall. And so I'm one of the people who's hoping that they'll open up some of the art classes too. I want to take ceramics. So we will post on our webpage, or if you follow us on social media, our president, her Instagram handle is EVCC Prez. That's always the fastest way to information. Like before it's on our website, before it's anywhere, she will post about it from her Instagram account. So I always tell everyone, just follow her and you will know what's happening probably before I do, because I'm not good at checking my social media. To know when those classes are going to be offered in person again. But to know what supplies you need, once you sign up for your class, you go to the bookstore, and you can go to the bookstore in person now. It's open for limited hours each day, or you can go online. And every welcome week, we post a video on our website that walks you through how to get your books online. But each teacher selects their own books and supplies for your class. So you have to go to the bookstore, look up your specific class with your specific teacher, and then they'll be able to tell you what supplies the teachers requiring for their course. And then if you are in private and public school, you just have to make sure that you're enrolled in a local public school. So as long as you're enrolled in a public school, you would be eligible for EVCC. So hopefully that answered your question. Chime in and let me know if I missed anything or need to clarify anything. And it looks like we have another question coming in. Is it guaranteed acceptance? Can you repeat what would disqualify an individual? Yeah, basically if you meet the qualifications, if you're a junior or senior enrolled in a local public school district and you have placement, that's all you need to do to qualify to be in the program. And just to clarify again, it does not have to be college level placement to qualify. So I was a Running Start student. I had college level English placement, and then I did not have college level math placement. I was placed into Math 86, but I just had to have that placement into Math 86 to qualify.
And I was the other way around. I didn't have college level English, but I did have college level math. But that is dependent on the college that you are applying for. So EVCC has that flexibility. I know that Cascadia does require, or did require up until last school year. I can double check that for anybody interested in Cascadia, but did require the English 101 placement. So that could be dependent on the college in terms of the placement. But I mean, you will pretty much get accepted into a program. It's just finding the right program for you.
Right, and the high school is not going to create a barrier. If you want to do Running Star, we will help you get that process going. A lot of that is on the student to follow through with each of the steps. But there does come a point with academic probation, if after, I believe it's 2 quarters, if a student hasn't passed their classes, then they cannot sign up again for a 3rd quarter with Running Start, and they return to the high school full time. So that can happen, but that would probably be about the most extreme case I can think of as far as not being eligible per se. But again, in starting the application process, so we definitely want to work with you and help set you up for success.
Any other questions? Don't be shy.
While you're thinking about those, we do just want to encourage you to keep in touch with us. We promise we are friendly. We love answering questions from students. I have worked at the college for 5 years, but I'm new to the Running Start student. So if you are feeling shy about your question or feeling like it's something you should already know, please don't. There's lots of stuff every day where I'm like, I don't know the answer to this, but I know who to ask and I can find out for you or for myself. So please feel free to email us. Our email is just runningstart@everettcc.edu. We also have our webpage where we have a presentation very similar to this one posted, as well as step-by-step instructions for joining the program. That's where you'll also find the Running Start specific application. So be sure to check that out. And our website is just everettcc.edu/Running Start, or you can type Running Start into the search box. You can also call us or text us. So whatever works best for you.
That texting feature is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's great. And it is us, the little team, answering those texts. So.
Very cool. No more questions? I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's about it. You did a wonderful job, Mrs. Avianca Walker. I really appreciate you coming in and joining us for this event, or leading this event to talk about Running Start. And I just want to further say, feel free to reach out to literally any of us if you have any questions. This is a great opportunity, but you do want to make sure that it's the right fit for you, you are very welcome. And although it may have been more directed at you, Bianca, yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you all for the students and or parents who have joined us this evening. I think that's about it then. I will go ahead and stop recording, but if there's anything else that comes up, feel free to mention it.